Discover the incredible 60-second act that changed this little girl's life forever after abuse. Mia stood at the front of the room, her heart thundering in her chest. Sunlight streamed through the community center's windows, casting a warm glow over her small frame. The faces before her unglued teens troubled by their own storms seemed to blur. She took a deep breath and for 60 seconds, she stepped into a world of vulnerability, sharing a story heavy with struggle, yet bright with hope. Hi, I'm Mia. My dad was a soldier, a hero, but when he came back he got lost. And he lost us. The air shifted. She spoke the painful truth, each word a beat of clarity against the chaos of her past. Mia saw a flicker in the eyes of her audience. Connection, understanding. She spoke of her single mother, Emily, the kitchen filled with love, the whispers of the neighborhood cutting through those golden moments. As she weaved her tale, memories washed over her playing in the yard while her mother worked, laughter over shared pizza, and a constant yearning for the dad she once knew. The claps that erupted were not just sounds. They resonated within her, affirming her journey from fear to strength. Mia felt a warmth envelop her, like a hug from her mom after a long day. But beneath the applause, shadows danced. The truth of her father, still a ghost in her life, loomed large. Could she face him? A wave of uncertainty crashed over her, tightening her chest. Whispers floated around the room, murmurs of reconciliation. Mia's newfound voice held power. Could it bridge the chasm between them, or deepen it? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Mia felt the weight of the audience's expectation, the air thick with emotion. Their hearts, held captive by her bravery, waited for her next move. Faces softened, anxious eyes locked onto hers, hoping for more than just stories, a miracle, a healing. The support wrapped around her like a warm blanket, yet the thought of seeing her father electrified her fear. Some part of her craved his approval, but could she forgive him for all the hurt? Just then, an elderly woman wiped away a tear, and a boy around her age stepped forward saying, "You're so brave. I wish I could be that brave." Those words hit Mia like a spark. The hope she'd built inside was now begging to ignite. Would she summon the courage to reach out to the man who once meant everything and now stood as a painful reminder of what was lost? As her thoughts spiraled, the room filled with a bittersweet tension, breath held in collective anticipation. What lay ahead was unclear, but one thing was certain. Mia was ready to confront her past, ready to weave her pain into something powerful, something that could transform both her world and her father's if only she could find him. What awaited her on that treacherous path? Mia's heart raced as she stepped down from the podium, her words still ringing in her ears. The applause felt like a beloved song, one she'd never forget. Yet that familiar knot tightened in her stomach. The idea of confronting her father loomed ominously, like a dark cloud on a sunny day. Would he even recognize her? As she walked through the crowd, kind faces turned toward her, smiles illuminated with admiration. The boy from earlier, Caleb, came up beside her. "You were amazing up there. I mean it. Is it strange that I feel like I know you already?" She chuckled nervously, brushing her hair behind her ear. "It's just a story, my story." "No, it's more than that," he insisted, enthusiasm bubbling in his voice. "You shared something real. I want to do that too. I've never spoken about my own stuff." His vulnerability mirrored hers, a tiny crack of light breaking through their shared darkness. "What is stopping you then?" He hesitated, eyes widening, as if he was actually contemplating the enormity of his own words. "Fear, I guess. Fear of what people would think. What if no one cares?" Mia stopped, considering his question. She understood all too well how fear could grip the heart. But what if they do care? What if they're as healing and sharing? Caleb nodded slowly, looking less like a boy and more like someone awakening from a long sleep. They stood there for a moment, absorbing the truth of her words. The vibe of the room swelled around them, conversations buzzing with renewed hope. "I'll go with you next time," Mia offered, her own heart still fluttering with uncertainty. You don't have to go it alone. It felt good to encourage him. Maybe it was just what she needed, too. The room slowly emptied, but Mia stayed behind for a moment, collecting her thoughts. She thought of her mother, who had given everything to keep them afloat. Mia could almost hear her soft voice urging her. You can do this, sweetheart. But the thought of her father was still a ghost, haunting her steps. A desire flickered, a need to know if the man who had become a stranger could still be her dad. Doubts brushed against her like a cold wind. Taking a deep breath, she pulled out her phone and stared at the screen. The last photo of them together was faint, a glimpse of a time that felt like another life. She remembered how he had held her small hand, a facade of security masking the storm brewing inside him. A bubble of warmth and dread formed in her chest simultaneously. The kind words she had spoken only moments ago now echoed in her mind. What if there's healing and sharing? Suddenly, she knew what she had to do. A simple message. Just one step. As her fingers hovered over the screen, her heart raced. She needed courage, and she needed it now. What are you waiting for? She whispered to herself, a wave of determination blossoming within her. But as she began to type, a notification popped up. A simple text from her mother. Mia, we need to talk. It's important. Panic and trepidation coursed through her veins. She hesitated. The call to her father stood above the text, an enigmatic challenge against the comforting ties of home. Which path would she choose? Mia stood at a crossroads, heart pounding, breath held. Would she embrace the unknown? Or retreat into comfort? As she weighed her options, she felt the weight of every story, every hope she had revealed that day. What would she do next? Mia stared at her phone, the bright screen blurring as her thoughts tangled into a knot of uncertainty. Her mother's text felt like a lifeline, a tether to familiarity, but in the depths of her heart, she sensed it was more than that. It was a warning, maybe even a reminder, of everything they had been through together. The shadows of the past loomed. With a sudden burst of clarity, Mia made her choice. Instead of diving into the familiar concerns of her mother, she decided to face the thing that terrified her the most, her father. Every instinct screamed at her to answer her mother, to find comfort in her words, but the urge to reach out to her father was stronger, a nagging pull she couldn't ignore any longer. Taking a deep breath, Mia typed her father's number, fingers shaking. She thought of the times he had cradled her heart in his hands and wondered if they could reclaim any of that love, however faint. Could they begin to piece together the wreckage? Before she could second-guess herself, she typed a message, careful and gentle. Dad, it's Mia, I want to talk. Just as she was about to hit send, another notification flashed. A ping that jolted her mother again. Please, Mia, call me. A rush of guilt surged through her. She felt the weight of obligation. What if her mom needed her? What if she needed to know about her dad? But this was about Mia and her heart. This was about healing, and if she didn't start now, would she ever? With a trembling finger, she pressed send. As the message delivered, a tiny wave of relief washed over her. She took a step back, her heart still thudding like a drum. What had she just done? Caleb approached, sensing her turmoil. Hey, everything okay? You look like you've just braved a storm. Mia offered a shaky smile, half-hearted. I just texted my dad. Wow. That's huge, he said, genuine pride shimmering in his eyes. What do you think will happen? I don't know. Mia's voice cracked, vulnerability spilling out. I don't even know him anymore. It's been years of silence. She felt the stirrings of sadness, loneliness tangled in an overwhelming sense of hope. Whatever happens, you know you're not alone. Caleb reminded her softly, his presence a warm embrace. You have a voice, remember? You shared your story today with so many people. You can do this. Mia nodded, grateful for his support, yet still battling her own emotions. She felt strength flickering to life inside her, but doubt still lingered. What if no response came? What if he had forgotten her entirely? As she and Caleb left the empty room, a weight settled on her chest. Each step felt heavier, echoes of her past swirling around her like ghosts. He had broken their family, yet here she was reaching out, summoning courage to mend the frayed ties. Can I ask you something? Mia hesitated, glancing sideways at Caleb. Sure, ask away. What if, after all of this, he doesn't want to talk? What if I'm opening a door he doesn't want to walk through? Caleb paused, his expression thoughtful. Then you'll know. That's important too. You'll know what to do next. Sometimes closure flows from knowing either way. And you deserve that. Mia drew in a deep breath, feeling both the weight of his words and the flutter of hope. Those words rang true, a torch lighting the dark path ahead. Suddenly her phone buzzed, causing her heart to skip. She glanced at the screen. Dad is typing. What could that mean? Would he respond? Tension coiled in her chest. The moment felt electric, bursting with possibility. What would her father say? Would he reach out or pull away? Mia's breath hitched as she stared at the screen, her heart racing. The three little dots pulsed like a heartbeat, as if they were part of a living thing, a promise wrapped in uncertainty. Each second stretched into eternity. What could he possibly be typing? Caleb leaned closer, recognizing the shift in the air, the weight of anticipation hanging between them. Are you okay? His voice was barely a whisper. I don't know, Mia murmured, feeling the thin line between hope and dread clinging to her. Lost in her thoughts, she never noticed that she was biting her lip until a sharp sting brought her back. Then, the screen refreshed. The message appeared. Hey Mia. I'm glad to hear from you. Can we talk tonight? The relief that washed over her was overwhelming, warm and freeing, but right next to it, a fresh wave of fear crashed down. It was a response, yes, but it wasn't a plan or an action, just a lingering question hanging in the air. Caleb's eyes sparkled with encouragement. See, he wants to talk. That's a step, Mia. A really big step. She nodded slowly, but her heartbeat betrayed the uncertainty that flooded her mind. But what if he just wants to brush things off? What if my message only opened the door for more hurt? Determination sparked in Caleb's gaze. You'll never know unless you take that step. You have to give yourself permission to feel whatever comes next. Mia took a deep, grounding breath, trying to process his words amidst the chaos in her head. What if I can't find the words? The thought of sitting face to face with her father after all these years felt like stepping into an unknown abyss. There was a sense of urgency in her chest, mixed with longing. This was her chance, but the chance could also shatter her into a million pieces if it went wrong. The weight of past wounds felt heavy, and she couldn't shake the disbelief that anything good could come from this awkward, elusive reconciliation. Caleb placed a gentle hand on her back, as if sensing how tightly her emotions were holding her. You've got to trust yourself. You're stronger than you think. Talking to him can only start a new chapter, not define you. Her phone buzzed again, breaking the haze of her worries. Could we meet at the old diner? It's been a long time. She stared blankly at the screen, memories flooding her mind, the smell of French fries and coffee, conversations shared over milkshakes as a little girl. Could it really be the same? The past was peppered with bittersweet moments mixed in with pain, and now she was being asked to walk right back into it all. I don't know if I can do this. Her voice trembled as a wave of panic washed over her. You can, Caleb insisted gently. Remember sharing your story? Facing the crowd took so much strength. You're ready to do this. The mixture of hope and fear danced in her chest. Maybe they were right, maybe this was the only way to move forward, to stitch together what had unraveled long ago. Mia typed a response, her fingers hovering above the keyboard before she pressed the keys with shaky resolve. Okay, let's meet. But I need to know, what do you want to talk about? As she hit send, the world around her faded, leaving only the pulse of her heartbeat. The silence that followed felt deafening. What would he reveal? Was this truly the moment where everything could change? Or was it a descent into an even deeper darkness? As they walked away from the dim hallway, the weight still heavy on her shoulders, Mia leaned into Caleb's side. Complicated is an understatement right now. Just remember, he said softly, whatever happens, you're going to be okay. You're not your past. One last buzz from her phone shattered the stillness, pulling at her heart like a tether. Let me explain. Mia's breath caught in her throat, that nagging pull returning fiercely. How could one little message open up so many possibilities? What was he about to reveal? The night was thick with unease as they stepped outside into the cold air. And all she could think was, could it be enough to change everything? Mia stood frozen for a moment, the world around her dimming into a blur. The chill of the night air pressed against her skin, each gust a reminder of the weight she carried. She glanced at Caleb, his expression a mixture of sympathy and determination, and for the first time, she felt a glimmer of hope spark in her chest. What if he says something that just hurts more? She asked, fear creeping back into her voice. Caleb's gaze locked onto hers, steady and unwavering. Then you deal with it together. You're not alone in this. She took a breath, trying to believe in the strength he seemed to see in her. I wish I could just fast forward to the part where it's over. Life doesn't work that way, he replied softly, but facing it head-on is the first step towards healing. You might just surprise yourself with how much you can handle. Mia shook her head, uncertain as the specter of her father loomed larger. The memories of childhood, both bright and painful, rushed through her mind, colliding in a whirlpool of emotions. The old diner, the place she used to escape to, now felt like a threshold, a bridge to a past she thought had long been closed off. After a few moments of silence, she finally nodded, pressing the screen of her phone to check for his response. What do you think he means by "let me explain"? Caleb shrugged. Could mean anything. Maybe he has been thinking about you all this time, or maybe he is filled with regret. Mia emulated his shrug, the action feeling light and yet so heavy. What if he doesn't feel anything? What if I'm just an afterthought? Then the phone buzzed again. Another message breaking through her spiraling thoughts. I've made mistakes, and I'm sorry for the hurt I've caused. But I want to begin making things right. Please meet me. Mia read the words, her stomach flipping over as disappointment twisted into an aching hope and plunged into uncertainty. She looked up at Caleb, and the look of concern on his face mirrored her own feelings. Do I even want to hear what he has to say? She felt a thick lump in her throat. Each word of his message felt heavy, thicker than the silence that followed it. You'll never know if you don't go, Caleb reminded her gently. And whatever happens next, remember it doesn't erase who you are today. The pair began to walk toward the diner, the night still cloaked in a shroud of uncertainty. Each step brought Mia closer to a piece of her past she had always tried to avoid. As they approached the familiar neon sign flickering above, it brought back memories, a place of laughter entwined with deep-seated sorrow. What if I freeze up? What if I can't say anything? Her voice cracked. Then you listen. Just be you. Caleb smiled, squeezing her hand for support. She took a deep breath, willing the bravery to settle within her. The old diner loomed before them, a familiar setting now morphing into a daunting stage, and Mia's heart raced. The weight of the past felt almost tangible, a swirling mix of fear and anticipation filling the air as they stepped inside. The scent of greasy fries and coffee hit her instantly, pulling her back in time. Let us sit in a booth, she said, directing Caleb to the far corner. As they slid into the worn vinyl seats, she forced herself to make eye contact with him. Okay, I'm ready kinda. Caleb nodded, his eyes shining with encouragement. Mia pulled out her phone, fingers hovering again over the screen as she typed, I'm here. She hit send, a ripple of silence responding back, stretching out the moment as her palms grew clammy. Whatever happens, it's just one conversation, Caleb said, his voice steady. Mia squeezed his hand, gathering courage. Suddenly, the bell above the door jingled as her father walked in. His face bore the weight of years and regrets, shadows crossing his once familiar features. Their eyes met, a flicker of recognition mixed with apprehension. Would he take another step? Did he truly want to make things right? Or was this just a facade? The diner was charged with so many unspoken words as he approached, and Mia's heart pounded in her chest. Was this the moment that would lead to healing, or would it set her back into darkness? As he sat down and opened his mouth to speak, the world around them faded, all her thoughts narrowing into one sharp question. Would she find the strength to uncover the truth that could change everything? Her father's gaze dropped to the tabletop, his hands trembling slightly as he tried to find the right words. To Mia, that silence felt unbearable, heavy as lead, hanging in the air like an unspoken confession. She could hear the hum of the diner surrounding them, distant chatter blending with the clattering of dishes, yet everything felt muted, as if the world was holding its breath for what came next. Mia, he finally said, his voice low and thick. It cracked like old wood under pressure. Why now? She asked, her voice surprisingly steady, though her heart raced. Why do you want to talk now, after all this time? I've thought about you every day. I can't escape the things I've done, he admitted, finally meeting her eyes. It was the first time she saw a hint of vulnerability. The harsh lines etched in his face softened for just a moment. I want to make it right. For us. Her heart twisted. Make it right? You've been gone for years. living your life like nothing happened. I know, he replied, his voice rising slightly. I know I can't change the past. But the truth is, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I let you down. I was a coward. Mia's thoughts raced, tumbling over one another with each confession. Coward. That was the very word she had whispered to herself in the dark nights when the memories chased her down. Do you even understand what you put me through? Her voice came out sharper than she intended. A mix of anger, disbelief, and the aching question of whether it mattered at all. How can you just show up and expect everything to be okay? He cringed, hands tightening around the edge of the table. I don't expect that. I just hope. A tear escaped her eye, and she wiped it away angrily. Hope? Hope doesn't change what happened, Dad. It doesn't rewind the clock. The pain swelled inside her, a dull ache that burrowed deeper. What was she doing here? She had readied herself for healing and confrontation, yet all she felt was the urge to retreat, to shut him out forever. Caleb, sensing her turmoil, gently squeezed her hand. The warmth of his presence anchored her, providing the strength she needed to face the storm. Just breathe, he whispered. You don't have to carry all this alone. Mia glanced at him, drawing some strength from the quiet support he offered. She knew she needed to decide. Would she let this conversation break her apart again, or would she take this moment to reclaim her voice? She turned back to her father, who looked at her with a mixture of regret and desperation. What do you want, Mia? I want to hear you. I need to know how you feel. Feel? She echoed, the word hanging heavily between them. I feel abandoned. I feel angry. I feel broken. I never wanted that for you. His voice was barely above a whisper, steeped in guilt. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, she shot back, her heart racing as emotions surged anew. You don't get to walk back in and just say sorry. There's no fixing years of pain with a message. Everything I went through is still right here. Do you understand that? He nodded, and for a moment silence enveloped them again. But this time it felt different. There was weight behind the words, a realization that perhaps, just perhaps, they were starting to peel back the layers of hurt. Caleb leaned closer, his eyes reflecting a silent understanding. You're doing great. Just keep going. Mia took a deep breath and pushed through. So if you want to make things right, then what do you have to say for yourself? What does making it right even mean to you? Her father opened his mouth, but the words seemed stuck. The air felt thick, and desperation hung like a cloud. Would he finally unlock the truth she craved? Or would he retreat into the shadows again, leaving her grappling with unanswered questions? As she waited for his response, an undeniable tension filled the diner. Could they really bridge the chasms of the past? Or was this just another fleeting moment of hope destined to unravel? A nervous silence settled like a blanket over the booth. Would this be the conversation that opened old wounds, or the one that began a healing process neither of them could have imagined? At that moment the door swung open again, and a familiar face entered, someone Mia never expected to see. Mia turned, heartbeat quickening as the door swung wide. There, stepping into the diner like a character out of a long-buried memory, was her younger brother, Sam. He looked taller now, leaner, but the warmth in his eyes hadn't dimmed. Suddenly a mingling of nostalgia and dread swirled in Mia's mind. How could she process her past when faced with the boy who had shared both her joy and thunderous pain? Sam? She whispered, disbelief creeping into her voice. It had been years since she'd seen him. The boy who had turned into a ghost in her life just as their father had left them behind. Mia. His voice was beaming, a little boy's thrill for his big sister evident in his smile, but it was also edged with something else, perhaps a touch of uncertainty. He paused, glancing from her to their father, and the tension sliced through the air like a knife. Is everything okay? He asked, concern suddenly flooding his sunny demeanor. This is your father, Mia said, an uneasy knot twisting in her stomach. The words felt heavy and fossilized, like the weight of years that lay between them. Mia, please, her father urged, eyes darting from his daughter to his son, desperate to make a connection with both. It's not how it looks, but the innocuous drinking glasses and flickering diner lights couldn't lighten the storm brewing amongst them. She wanted to scream that this was not the time, that this conversation was hers alone to navigate. Sam took a cautious step closer to the booth, confusion written all over his face. Dad? He hardly seemed to know the man, and yet, the faintest glimmer of recognition flickered behind his eyes. Mia's head spun. How could she let her father see Sam? How could she let Sam see their father? The man who had caused so much anguish. Before she could respond, Sam turned to her. I thought you were going to meet me at the park. I've missed you. The longing in his voice pulled at Mia's heart. Didn't he know? Didn't he understand how deeply this moment could shake them all into smaller pieces before they had a chance to heal? Sam deserved better. I didn't think I'd see you here, she stammered, torn between the warmth and the dread coiling inside her. This was not what she had envisioned. Mia's father, trembling, began to rise from his seat. Sam, I'm sorry you had to find out like this. I know I've made a lot of mistakes, but I want to make things right. I want to be a father to both of you again, right? Mia interjected, anger rising as she clocked the way her brother flinched. You think things can just go back to normal? We've been living without you for years. You can't just flip a switch. But I'm here now, he replied, the desperation in his voice mounting. But Sam's gaze traveled from their father's face to Mia's, searching for the truth that lay beneath the surface. What's going on? He asked, his voice quiet but steady, like he already sensed the fracture. Tension hung thickly, and Mia could feel Caleb's hand still resting on hers, solid and hopeful. She stole a glance at him, and in that moment, she understood that she had to navigate this not just for herself, but for Sam too. With a deep breath, she faced her brother, who awaited her words with wide-eyed innocence. Sam, it's complicated, but we can't just let history repeat itself. Not again. The diner faded into a background hum as silence filled their small booth, a tapestry of unresolved feelings tightening like a noose. How could she protect Sam from this storm? As her father looked longingly at Sam, pleading for understanding, Mia wondered if this was the moment everything would change again, or if they'd only fracture deeper. Could they truly begin again, or was this the point of no return? In that instant, the waiter approached, tray in hand, momentarily interrupting the silence. What can I get for you? He asked cheerfully, yet oblivious to the heaviness that had settled over the three of them. I don't know, Mia whispered, a swell of fear racing through her thoughts. What were they trying to order in this new reality they had stumbled back into? The answers didn't come easily, and uncertainty loomed like a dark cloud. Little did Mia know, real decisions were not just ahead, they were now, right here at this table, pressing on the edge of a precipice where the past battled against the fragile future she fought to reclaim for both herself and her brother. What was she willing to risk in order to protect herself and Sam from chaos once again? Mia broke eye contact with Sam, her heart hammering in her chest. She could feel the weight of the moment bearing down on her. Her father was still standing, looking at Sam as if he was the sun lit up in darkness. This wasn't how she wanted things to be, not like this. Not with all the old wounds aching to resurface. Let's sit down, Mia finally said, her voice shaking slightly. She forced a smile, hoping to dispel some of the tension that crackled amongst them like static electricity. They slid back into the booth, each person taking their assigned spot, the air heavy between them. Can I get a burger, please? Sam spoke first, his voice eager but edged with hesitation, still unsure of the emotional weight his request carried. Sure, buddy, Mia responded quickly, hoping to focus on something tangible. She flagged down the waiter, who seemed oblivious to the emotional crisis swirling around their booth. What about you? The waiter asked, eyes darting towards their father, who still sat there as if locked in time. I'll have a coffee, Mia murmured, her hands fidgeting against the sticky table. And for you, sir? The waiter turned to their father. Just water, he said, his voice almost a whisper. After the waiter left, the silence returned, heavy as a storm cloud. Mia glanced at her brother, who stared blankly at the table, the spark of joy dimming from his eyes. This was not how she wanted their reunion to unfold. How have you been? Sam finally asked, his voice breaking the stillness. It was a simple question, but it felt loaded. An attempt to bridge the chasm of years filled with uncertainty. I've been all right, she replied, forcing a smile. I've missed you so much. Sam hesitated, glancing briefly at their father before returning his gaze to her. Why didn't you tell me about Dad? The question hung in the air, charged with energy. How could she explain the tangled web of emotions, the protective walls she had built? It was complicated, Sam. I thought it would be better to shield you from everything. A flicker of something crossed his face. Disappointment? Anger? She couldn't tell. But I deserve to know who he is, Sam insisted, leaning forward. Do you? Mia challenged, her heart racing. Do you really want to know a man who vanished, who left us to pick up the pieces? Maybe he deserves a second chance, Sam said quietly. The innocence in his eyes twisted the knife deeper in Mia's heart. Has he even earned that? She shot back, unable to contain her frustration. Their father's face crumpled. I'm trying, Mia. I'm here, aren't I? Being here doesn't fix the past. She was on the brink of shouting, but she held back, still aware of Sam's presence. Please, can we just have a nice meal? Sam pleaded, his voice trembling. I just want to be with both of you. Is that too much to ask? Mia's heart sank, realizing how much pressure rested on them. She looked at Sam, his youthful face reflecting a desperate need for connection, a connection she had fought so hard to safeguard him from. The diner felt smaller now, the sounds of clattering dishes and murmurs around them fading into background noise. Mia searched her father's face, hoping to find some sign of responsibility, some recognition of the damage done. But all she saw was confusion and regret. What would it take to break this cycle of hurt? Just then the light above them flickered, casting odd shadows across the table. As Sam looked around, Mia caught a glimpse of their father's haunted expression, revealing a man still lost in the repercussions of his own choices. The waiter returned with their drinks, shattering the silence. Here you go. He set down Sam's soda, Mia's coffee, and the water, each glass becoming a representation of their fractured lives. Let us just try, Sam began again, this time with a hesitance that pierced through Mia's defenses. Can we really start fresh? Could they? The weight of that question hung heavily, an echo of possibility laced with fear. Could they reshape their family from fractured pieces? Or were the cracks too deep to heal? Mia felt her throat tighten, the enormity of it all crashing down. As she looked at Sam's hopeful eyes, she knew she had a choice to make. The door of their past loomed in the distance, and she stood at the threshold. Would she dare to step through into uncertainty? Or would she retreat, leaving Sam and the past hidden behind layers of hurt? The decision loomed, and for Mia, the moment of truth was just around the corner. What would she choose when faced with the weight of legacies in each fragile breath? Mia's heart raced as silence settled back over their booth, a silence so thick it felt almost suffocating. She couldn't avoid thinking about what lay ahead. Every second felt like a countdown, each tick echoing her hesitation. Sam's eyes were locked on her, filled with hope and a need for connection. She could almost hear his unspoken words. Just say yes. Okay, she whispered, gathering her resolve. Let us try. Sam's face brightened, and even their father looked up, a flicker of surprise crossing his features. Really? Sam's voice cracked with disbelief, as if the air suddenly had a chance to breathe again. You mean it? Mia nodded slowly, her smile trembling at the corners. Let us talk. We can figure this out together. Their father shifted uncomfortably in his seat, gratitude mingling with apprehension on his face. I really want to make this right, he said, his voice still thin like a fragile thread. What does making it right look like? Mia asked, trying to keep her tone steady. I need to know you understand what you've done. Their father swallowed hard, the weight of her words sinking in. I didn't realize how much I hurt you too. I was just scared. I thought you'd be better off without me. The vulnerability in his voice was new, almost too raw to digest. Mia clenched her fists under the table, trying to push aside the memories of empty days and unshared celebrations. But we weren't better off. We needed you. Maybe I didn't say it before, but I missed you. A brief frown crossed Sam's face. You left us. You abandoned us when we needed you the most. How do you come back from that? Their father's gaze dropped to the table, and for a moment the silence returned, even heavier than before. Sam's hands fiddled with the napkin, frustration carving deep lines in his young face. You should have tried harder. I know that now, their father said, sounding older than his years. I hope you can forgive me. I'm not the same person I was back then. His expression was earnest, but Mia couldn't shake off the years that had already passed. Do I have to forgive you to move forward? She asked, feeling a knot tighten in her stomach. The thought of forgiving him already felt like stepping into a freezing river, So uncertain and disorienting. Yes, he replied, but the word was almost a whisper, the weight of it hanging heavy in the air. Sam, who had been so quiet, suddenly leaned forward again, eyes bright. What if we just take it one step at a time? He suggested. Like, maybe we could do something fun together? Just to start? Mia watched as her father's face flickered with hope. What did you have in mind? He asked, leaning toward Sam as if he could bridge the gap with enthusiasm alone. Maybe a game night? Sam offered, his excitement spilling over now that he had a plan. We could start with something simple. Just us, no pressure. Mia's heart ached at her brother's optimism, a stark contrast to her uncertainty. Could a game night really bridge years of hurt? Could it patch over the wounds in their family? I'd like that, Mia said slowly, testing the waters. Maybe she could open herself even just a little. Their father nodded, a smile breaking through the cloud of doubt hanging above them. I'd really like to be part of that. Before Mia could respond, the lights flickered once more, this time brighter. A sense of hope flickered to life too, weaving through her doubts like a sunrise cutting through night. But then, a voice called from the other side of the diner, startling them. Mia? It was Ashley, her childhood friend, crossing the diner with wide eyes. Mia felt her stomach drop. What would Ashley say? Her world felt so fragile, and the memories of years spent hidden away resurfaced like an unwelcome tide. Would she be able to explain it to her? Would Ashley understand? Her heart raced, the moment taking another unexpected turn. As Ashley approached, all eyes shifted, and Mia felt the weight of the world in that single breath. Would this be an opening into something new? Or would it rip the fragile seams of their tentative family reunion apart? Mia's choice hung in the air, a question poised between them. What would she say when faced with this sudden reminder of the past? And would that past shatter the glimmer of hope that was just beginning to flourish? Mia inhaled deeply, her heart pounding as the familiar voice reached her ears. Ashley had been a steadfast support during her darkest days, and while joy flickered at the sight of her friend, a tight knot of apprehension formed in her stomach. This reunion was precarious, a balancing act between the ghosts of their shared past and the fragile hope for a better future. Mia could see Ashley stopping short, a deep frown registering on her face, eyes flicking between Mia, Sam, and their father. What? How are you guys here? She asked, perplexed. Mia swallowed, her throat tight. The warmth of the diner was suddenly stifling as she realized that all of this, the weight of the past, the presence of her father, and the innocent optimism of Sam, was now exposed to Ashley's questioning gaze. Things are complicated, Mia replied, her voice catching slightly, but we're trying to figure things out. Ashley stepped closer, her expression softening but still heavy with concern. Mia, I've been so worried about you. Don't, Mia responded quickly, surprising herself with her tone. I mean, it's okay. The truth hung in the air like a fragile paper lantern, dancing precariously. I just didn't want you to see all of this, not yet. Not yet. Ashley echoed, now peering at Mia's father. I didn't even know he was back. Why now? What is happening? There was a protective edge to her voice, the type that Mia had always relied on in challenging times. Her father shifted in his seat, eyes flickering with uncertainty as they met Ashley's fierce gaze. I know I've hurt them both. I'm here to make things right if they'll let me. Mia's heart raced. Did she want to give her father the chance to speak in this space? Would Ashley's presence be a catalyst for the healing she had been seeking? Or would it add storm clouds over their reunion? Really? You think showing up changes anything? A note of skepticism rang through Ashley's voice. You were gone, left them in the dark. I know that, he said, his voice trembling with regret. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want the chance to explain. Mia felt the tension pile on, thickening the air. Is it really fair to unravel this in front of everyone? She said quietly, her voice trembling. Sam watched the exchange, seeking assurance. Mia, maybe it's okay for Ashley to know, he said, his innocence cutting through the heaviness. If we can talk about it, maybe we can find a way. Mia leaned back for a moment, observing the faces around her. Among the hurt, the hopes of unearthing something meaningful began to crack through the surface. As her father opened his mouth to speak, she felt a mix of fear and anticipation. She silently pleaded for the words to come through, for honesty and clarity that could mend the broken pieces of their family. Maybe I've failed as a father and as a man, but I've thought of both of you every day, he said, his voice quaking. I've made mistakes. But today, sitting here, it's clear that I want a second chance. Mia took a deep breath, her heart racing as she weighed every thought. She sensed Ashley's searching gaze still fixed on her, aware of her journey with each unspoken word. And that warmth fluttered within her, that same heart that bound them together through endless sleepless nights. Mia, Ashley said softly, you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to rush to forgive him either. Maybe not forgive, but understand, Mia replied more firmly. Her gaze fell on Sam, who was watching her with wide eyes, hope blooming. You deserve to hear him, Sam. She then turned to her father. We can talk, but trust has to be rebuilt, and it won't happen overnight. I accept that, he replied with a nod. I'm ready to listen. Listen. Ashley chimed in. Really listen? Yes, he assured, sincerity glimmering in his eyes. For once, I want to hear the truth from you both. Mia felt the air shift, a refreshing breeze washing over the stifling fear that had clung to her. The walls around them felt like they were beginning to bend. A corner of revival was peeking through. Okay then, Mia said slowly, gathering her courage. Let us start there. With tentative resolve, she met Ashley's eyes, soaking in the strength of their friendship as wells emerged anew. The chatter of the diner faded into the background as Mia realized they were all on a journey together, a shared path toward potential healing. One step at a time. As she looked around the table, she felt a surge of strength. They might not know what lay ahead, but they were willing to face it together. Hope, like the flickering lights above, began to shine bright within her chest. Maybe this would be their hour of truth, one that could transform their scattered past into something beautifully woven, with each strand of pain and joy making a powerful tapestry. Let us order first, Sam said suddenly, breaking the silence, a grin breaking across his face. And then we can start. As laughter broke the tension, Mia felt something soften in her heart. The road ahead was still unpredictable, but together, maybe they could build something new. She reached across the table, intertwining her fingers with Sam's and hesitantly extending her other hand toward her father as they prepared to take that first step toward healing. This was the moment she had dreamed of, the beginning of a future woven with compassion instead of fear. And with that, they began a new chapter together. If you felt inspired by Mia's journey, don't you dare forget to act now. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that can lift your spirit even higher. Leave a like now to let the algorithm know these stories matter. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this transformative ending. Your voice is important. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Your actions help create a thriving community.